All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started now. I know that there's some people jumping off another meeting, and they can go ahead and catch up with us. So for today, we wanted to go ahead and do kind of like a basic income calculation for 1120s. We will eventually have a cash flow analysis with this 1120s class on another occasion, because it does take a little bit longer. And we want to get you guys a worksheet and all that good stuff so that you guys can follow along with our instructor on that one. But when we go into looking at an 1120s employee, I just kind of wanted to show you guys what to look out for. So there are a lot of employees that do not pay themselves 1120s. I'm sorry, W-2, but they are a lot that do. My taxes here are going to be for a couple years prior, 19 and 20, but I wanted to go ahead and show you guys what we look out for here. So when you're getting a borrower's 1040s for their taxes, you want to make sure the type of income that they're showing. Of course, some of us, we just go straight to the W-2 wages income. But we definitely want to take a look at line item 7 to see if they have any other type of income, because we're going to want to see where is this income coming from, right? So of course, you want to analyze this top portion. In this case, our borrower in 2019 had 251,000, but they also had a Schedule 1. So as we're scrolling through their taxes, of course, you're going to just be analyzing everything that you see coming through here. And this is going to tell you here on your additional income, your Schedule 1, where it's coming from, whether it's rentals and real estates, royalties, any type of partnerships, any S corporations, trust, or an attached Schedule E. In this case, we do know that this borrower is in a corporation. So we want to keep going down and just double checking that information, right? So I kept the full taxes here so you guys can kind of see where we look at to see if this borrower has a Schedule E that is going to show that they actually do have or an S corp. So this is where you guys would see if this borrower on your attachment actually carries over an S corp or any type of partnership. Of course, I blacked out the name, but we can see here that this borrower had an S corporation, their identity, and it's an S corp here. It'll tell you whether it's a partnership or an S corp. This is where I would then go in and ask my borrower, okay, I'm going to need to see your W-2s, because in this case, we saw that in line item 1, they're also paying themselves W-2, or they're getting paid a W-2 by another company. So in this case, I know my borrower has W-2s, so this is where I ask them for W-2s, as well as their 1120s, which we have their 1120s right here. And so I asked her for her 1120s, and this is what she gave me. Now, when I started in the business, this was super scary for me. Like, I always had to ask for help. But we have this awesome calculator here, and it'll actually guide you through what to look for and on your returns, as well as your 1120s. In this case, we're going to do an 1120S, because and I'll share this calculator with you guys. This particular calculator will calculate all your income. If your borrower is W-2, if they have any interest or dividends, Schedule C, Schedule D, Schedule E for your rentals and real estate. I like to separate my calculations, so I particularly use this income calculator only for either a 1065, which is a partnership income, or my 1120S, which is a corporation, an S corp. It does have a regular corporation here, which is your 1120. This is for sole proprietors. This is for regular income, regular corporations. But I like to use this particular calculator for my 1120s because it's super easy. And like I mentioned, it tells you exactly where to go. If they have any net rentals, income or loss, it'll tell you line item 2 or 3. And remember, this is based on your 1120. So it'll tell you what line item you got to look at here in your taxes to complete in this form. But in this case, my borrower is also making, paying herself out, out of her corporation. So she's actually paying herself, and I do apologize, this one kind of goes a little haywire. She's actually paying herself W-2. So we see that here on the personal taxes that she's paying herself out of her corporation. How do I know that? Because I did ask her for her W-2s in this case. And then, pardon me here, because this one, like I said, it kind of goes a little bit crazy. So when I asked her for her W-2s, I saw here that she's paying herself out of, she's paying herself a W-2. So in this case here, I'm basically going to be, of course, using the same income, but in my same calculator. Because remember, the income is coming from her own W-2. She's paying herself from her own company. So this is why you do want to ask for W-2s when you guys are getting your 1040s. You want to know where this income is coming from. Because if that income is coming from their own corporation, their own S-Corp, they're paying themselves, this is where you put it in the income calculator up here in the W-2 self-employment. If this is a separate job, if she was getting paid on a separate job, you can just use that income calculation on a separate calculator, because this is going to break down your income for your 1120s. Again, you can use this same calculator for all your income, you know, your Schedule C's, Schedule E's, all that. I personally like to separate it because I like to know how I arrived at my self-employment 1120s income, instead of adding my W-2 if my borrower has both a self-employment and a regular job. For instance, us as loan officers, we will have, you know, depending on how we file our income, of course, we will have our income. If, you know, we were 1099, we can have an S-Corp. So our S-Corp income will be different. I have people that do so many different things, right? They have like Airbnbs, or they have rentals, but they still hold a job. So I like to separate the income in calculators. So diving into the income calculation, I'm going to go ahead and grab this income here, now 251,145, and I'm going to place it. I know my calculator says 22 and 21. I wanted to have this new one for you guys because in 2019, our depreciation was at 0.20, I'm sorry, it was 27 cents. And in 2020, it was 26. This year, it is 26 and 26. So I want to make sure that you guys are calculating it based on the correct depreciation. So you guys want to make sure you guys are calculating based on the correct depreciation cents when you're giving back a specific mileage. So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use 2019 for 2021 and 2020 for 2022 on this calculator, just for the purposes of this calculator. So in this case, as I'm grabbing my information, I'm just going to complete as I go. Now, of course, I'm going to match that with my calculator for 2019. I know that they made that 21,145. I add the cents in. Again, I'm a little OCD. I like my cents. I like to start from the bottom, getting both my incomes up where I need to see them. In this case, my borrower did make less in 2020. And as we all know, 2020 was a COVID year. A lot of people lost a lot of money. In this particular borrower was a makeup artist. So as we all know, a lot of things were not in person. They were not doing, shows or all that. She's a celebrity makeup artist. So she made way less money. We were trying to fight this deal with the cash flow, obviously trying to make it work because we know that in 2021 she was going to make more. We could not do that, but this is just a scenario that I wanted to show you guys. If you guys are seeing declining income, just like my Schedule C and Schedule E class, you guys need to make sure that you're actually giving them the worst case scenario, the declining income. In this case, our lender was willing to do average because 2020 was a COVID year. And, she did have a history of making, $250,000 a year. So, these are scenarios that you guys are still going to come across because a lot of people haven't filed 2022 taxes or 2021 taxes. They're still kind of like, not wanting to file them, or they haven't filed them yet. So just keep in mind, if you guys have a 2020 taxes and it was a COVID year, Make sure you guys are using your cash flow. And again, just from the beginning, we are going to have somebody come out and do a full-on cash flow income calculation. That is a lengthy class. It's about an hour, hour and a half, because she allows for you guys to actually interact. And it's very informative. You guys would love it. So anywho, I'm going to go ahead and place here my 07752. Again, I'm going to just double check that income with my taxes to make sure that my actual taxes are matching that W-2 she's giving me. And as I can see here, as I can see here, my taxes is matching that at 56,078. So I have 077, but we know that this rounds up if it's more than 50 cents. So now I'm going to go ahead and move on to my, I'm going to analyze my taxes to see if she, by chance on her, so my W-2s, I'm done. I'm just going to close those out. I already know what she makes. I don't need them anymore, but I'm going to check my 1040s. I know that she had here certain income, but I want to make sure she's not also having a Schedule C, a self-employment on there, because if I do have that, I do want to add this to this calculator, because if she's using that same income for that makeup artist income, then I want to make sure that I'm actually calculating this correctly, right? So as I see here, I still only have the S Corp here, which is at a negative. And again, I'm just going to be going through my taxes. And if you guys have any questions, please let me know. Feel free to ask questions. But I'm going to be going through my taxes and taking a look at if there's anything else. I mean, I know this is home mortgage interest. So I'm just going to keep moving. I do know that here I saw my S corporation. It was there. It was at a negative income. So I need to come back. I need to go this is where I need to analyze my 1120s, right? I do see here, again, her wages do match. It's at 251,145. She is doing her filing status here. So I'm going to keep going. I do have net investments. Again, this is still just my S corporation. This is just the adjusted gross income from the taxes. It has nothing to do with my other stuff. And that's pretty much it. Everything else is carrying over from her S corporation, right? All these numbers are all carrying from her S corp. So as I analyze that, the same thing I would do for her 2020 taxes. I would just basically look at her 2020 taxes and see if she has any other type of income. Again, here she does have capital gains, but remember, guys, with capital gains, and the only reason I'm going to bring it up here is because it is showing here she does have capital gains. If I don't have a consistency of 2 years, I can't use it. So with capital gains, I'm just going to skip that. I'm going to ignore it. I do see here she does have an income for Schedule 1 of 140,000. So I do know, again, I know she has an S corp because that's the type of employee she is, or type of client, I'm sorry. Again, here's her S corp, 140,000. So I will just analyze, again, this is where she had her capital gains, but we did not see it in 2019, so we can't use it. Now, if she gives me 2021 taxes and she has capital gains, I can average her capital gains. And this is all just her write-offs, basically just breaking them down, her dispositions and assets. This is not something that goes on here. And here she shows her S corporation with her K1. So we see here she has her non-passive income of 140,000. So again, I know that I'm going to go ahead and analyze her 1120s. So again, I can just close this out because I don't need it anymore. I've already analyzed her 1040s. Now I do separate out the K1s from the 1120s. It's just for my view. You guys can keep them together. Your 1120s should have K1s on them, and it'll let you know through your 1120s if it has the K1s. So especially if you see them on your 1040s, you're going to want the K1s, because again, this income calculator is going to be based on that income. So now that I know that I don't have any Schedule B, no Schedule C, D, or E, I'm going to go ahead and I'm done. I'm done up here with the W-2s. I am now going to skip through this whole page because I don't have Schedule E. I don't have a Schedule F because she's not a farmer. So I know this is not a 1065 because she's provided me with 1120S. So I'm going to go to that portion, right? And here it is, my S Corp. So here's the portion that I'm going to be completing. And remember, this is going to tell me exactly where to look for the items to place in here. So remember, 2020, we're going to use 19, and 2021, we're going to use 2022. So here's my 19. Again, I like to complete my sections first and then skip to this before I continue moving down on my worksheet. Just 1 second, because this one was much easier to do it live than on a PowerPoint, just because it is easier to guide through these pages here. So on my 1120s, it's telling me to look at what my ordinary loss or income here, and it's line item 16D. Again, it's always going to tell you where to look for it. So I know here I don't have, I'm sorry. I know I don't have any review or distribution here. Oh, sorry, this is your K ones. So I know I don't have here the 16D. It says affecting, and it says to look at my statement, right? So I need to look at what my statement is telling me. I do apologize. I missed right here. It says this is so keep in mind, this is going to tell you where to look for it. Schedule K1 Form 1120S, right? So this is your information on your shareholder, and it's telling you it's line 16D. So I do have an amount here, and that's $3,011, and it is 16D. So I'm going to go in here and put that 3011. Now it's going to tell me to look for, and again, this is still the K1, right? So it tells you here, Schedule K1 Form 1120S. My net rentals or other rental income loss, line items 2 and 3. In this case, I don't have anything for that line item 2 and 3. Now, you do want to, before you skip forward, this is where you guys are going to see what her shareholder percentage is, meaning is she 50% owner? Is she, and this is going to tell you here, again, from form Schedule K1, line G. So here, I know it's in line F, it's not in line G, but I think it's the new ones were moved a little bit, but this is where you guys would see where your shareholder information is. And this is important because let's say she was a 50% shareholder, her income's going to be very different than if it's 100%. So here's where I would want to put, here it's telling me it's 100%. So now I know that I've actually completed everything. So I usually put a 0 just for my, head. Hey, I already looked at it. I don't need to look at it again. So now I'm going to go to my K1 for 2020. In this case, it's telling me again, 16D. I do have an amount of $217,816. Again, line items 2 and 3, I don't have anything, so I'm going to put 0. And then here on my line item F, it's 100%. She's still 100% owner, right? She doesn't have a partner. Now, that's all you guys need from your K1s. So, and it's going to, again, it's going to tell you here. And then like I mentioned earlier, this portion we don't have to complete because this is for a regular corporation. We are only looking at the section that we need to complete for our borrower. So in this case, we're done with our K1s. So I can go ahead and shut them down. And I like to do it this way because again, it just makes me a little bit more organized. I make sure I don't miss anything, and I make sure that I'm completing all the sections for my borrower. So now we're going to go to our 1120s. Again, our calculator is going to let you know where to find the items that you need to complete in here. So I now need to go to my 1120S, and it's telling you to look for my lines 4 and 5. So I don't have anything in line 4 and 5. So I'm going to put 0. Now I want to look at line 14, my depreciation. So I do have depreciation of $261,438. And depletion, line item 15, I don't have anything, so 0. Line item 19, again, it's going to tell you to review any attachments. This is only for amortization and casualty loss. So you can go ahead and look at your attachments because yes, you do have $541 and I'm sorry, 1,576. But you want to take a look at your statement too. And you want to make sure that what you're placing in that section is going to actually be what you're supposed to complete. And it tells you other deductions, review your line item. It will only be for amortization and casualty loss. Just like I mentioned to you guys on your, it was 2, right? Just like I mentioned on Schedule C, it does have to be for amortization or casualty loss only. In this particular one, I know that she does not have it, but I think it's this one here. So what you want to do is you look at this description, right? I think it's page 2. So this is the description you guys would look at. Right here on the description, it's going to let you know what are you writing off. And as you can tell, it's at 541,576 that we saw in line item 19. But if you're looking at this and you do not see casualty loss or amortization, we cannot use any of these funds to give her anything back here. So that becomes a 0. If you see amortization or casualty loss in any of these back drop downs here, you can use it. You can go ahead and add that as a deduction back onto their income here. Now we're going to go to mortgages. And again, it's going to tell you Schedule L, line 17D. And you'll get used to finding, you know, it's in alphabetical order. So you'll see it's K, L. So now we're going to go to Schedule L, and it's telling us to take a look at 17D. So here we go, 17D. And as we can see here, she doesn't have any mortgage notes or bonds that she's writing off on here. So again, that's a 0. And now we're going to look at M1, line 3B. So again, it's alphabetical order. And we are here in M1, and we're looking at 3B. So this here, it's meals and entertainment. Just like your self-employed borrower on a Schedule C, we are deducting their meals and entertainment. This calculator is going to do it themselves. The only difference it's not going to do is if you have a loss on your income. So now we see here that it's calculated this S corporation income for me, right? So if we had less percentage, it's going to give me less of an income here. But of course, we know it's 100% income. So I'm sorry, her partnership is 100%. So we know that we give her that full amount here. Just give me 1 second, because I think I'm missing something here. So now we're going to go ahead and go to our next, here is my 2020. So now we're going to go ahead and grab this income from this next page. I'm sorry, on these next taxes. So now we're going to calculate the next year's taxes. Again, same thing. We're going to go ahead and take a look at our income, and we're going to start filling in the blanks. Does anybody have any questions so far? No, I hear a cluck. All right, so we've already done the K1, so we're now going to move on to our 1120s. So we're going to look at our 1120s, our non-recurring income line item 4 and 5. There's nothing there. We're going to take a look at our depreciation and depletion here at 19,000. We do have 19,678. We don't have anything on line item 15, I'm sorry. Again, amortization right here, line item 19, we do see that we have 293,482, but we're gonna go ahead and again, just to be sure, we're gonna go ahead and scroll down and look at her statement. And again, I'm just gonna look for, and it's usually in alphabetical order, sometimes it's not, but you know, again, I'm just gonna look for amortization or casualty loss, and I don't see anything here. So I'm just gonna go right back up. And I'm gonna place the 0 here. Again, mortgages, we're gonna do L, schedule L. And again, it's letting us know 17D. There's nothing there, so we have a 0. And my M1. Again, it's gonna be your M1 line item 3B. So 3B, we have 26,978. And she is at a loss here on that. Now, down here, you're gonna put how many months she's calculating for, right? So we know that she's calculating for 12 months. So this is gonna do the deduction for you. Does anybody have any questions so far?
No, I'm good.
Now, the only thing is, you know what, guys, I'm noticing something on this calculator that it just threw me off a little bit. And because I know what my income was on this client. So I wanted to just kind of, and I should have checked this calculator before, because our calculator before calculation would have been less. I think it's missing a line item here. But basically, like I said, bottom line, you guys are basically going to be going through these calculations. You're going to look at where it's asking you to add that. And I think what it did here, and I'm going to be really honest with you guys, is I think it gave me the wrong line item here. And I'm going to go, so I'm going to just change this up a little bit. And the reason for that is because I already have calculated this borrower's income. So I'm gonna just correct something really quick. For some reason, this is telling me on the K1s, which is why it threw me off a little bit. I'm gonna change this for you guys, and I do apologize. It should be your 1120s income on your ordinary business income here. So this is not on your K1. I do apologize for that. This is where I realized that it was the wrong the calculator's wrong. So you're actually, the calculations on the rest is correct. It's just simply this ordinary income here. It's giving you guys on the schedule 1. I'm going to change this for you guys, but it should come from here. And it's on your 1120s, your line item 21. I do apologize for that. So this income should be a negative 18,514. This is the only section you guys are actually going to put a negative. The rest is going to do it for you, whether it's a positive or negative. And again, I do apologize because this is what threw me off earlier, that I was noticing that this is in the wrong item. So this line item, and I will change this description. I do apologize once again. It's going to be your line item 21 from your 1120s. And this is the number you will put in here. So then my income calculation for this one would be 140, because this is a positive, 424. So now the rest is correct. As I mentioned, the rest is correct. It's actually from the correct line items. It's just this was simply incorrect. So now I can scroll all the way down and I can take a look at the income that is monthly here. And as you can recall, I used this one for 2019, and this one's 2020. So you guys are noticing that her monthly income is declining. Because her monthly income is declining, I do have to go with the current, correct? I have to go with the 15,000. Now, in these types of cases, there is a cash flow analysis that you can do so that you can show that if they have a trajectory of making this amount of 38,000, you can try to prove that by showing your current with your P&L and show that the trajectory is to make the 38,000 a month, correct? So that's the class that I'm going to have on our cash flow analysis come in and show you guys. And again, like I said, I do apologize on regards to that first line item. It was something that did throw me off. It because I already knew her income. That's why I was like, wait, that doesn't make sense. But this line item is incorrect. When I send it to you guys, it will be correct. And again, this will be based off of your line item 21 of your 1120s. The rest was correct. So the way that you're looking at this income is, again, it's going to basically tell you what to complete and where to get it from. This is super, super like on the dot. It'll tell you exactly where it comes from, whether it's your K1s or your 1120s. This was the only one that was a little bit out of place. But again, I'm going to update that for you guys. And I'll send this out to you. And just like I mentioned, if it's a partnership, you guys want to make sure that you're actually going on the right section of the calculator. And I'll update this as well. This is for 1120S, and this is a sole corporation, and this is for your regular corporations. So again, it's going to let you know what line item and where to find it from, right? And then once you're at the bottom, you do want to click these little radial buttons so that you're letting the calculator know, hey, I'm doing basically both, right? I want to know what her 2020 income was. I want to know what her 2019 income was, and you have to put the number of months. Now, if you're doing a 2-year average, then you would click this button here, and it's going to calculate the income for you. Now, this doesn't go backwards, which is when you don't want to do a 2-year average. I know it's kind of weird when you want to remove it. Unless you delete the items, it does not go, because it is a PDF calculator, it does not change it backwards. So if you guys want to start over, you do have to just pretty much resave this blank and start it all over. Just so you guys know, I have tried to figure out how to remove that or unclick it, but it doesn't. But this is going to basically tell me that my income calculation that most likely a lender is going to give me is $15,766.79. Why? Because my income is declining. It's basically, going down. If it were the other way around and you're using 2 years taxes, then you would use the 2-year average. If you're going LP, this borrower has excellent credit and you want to go 1-year taxes and you're able to use, and this was your current, let's say this was 2022, then you can use this income here. But this will give you the breakdown of how to break down your income for your 1120s. Remember to just always, always, always check on your K1s. And again, I did separate it on the other page, but I'll scroll down here. On your K1s, it is going to tell you where your partnership, this one doesn't have it. I extracted it out. It's going to show you where you guys are going to look for your percentage of partnership, right? So this particular line says G, but it's actually line item F, and it's going to tell you this is what the ownership is for this tax year. If this was 50%, then we would know that her income is half, right? Because the corporation is making the 38,000 a month, but she's only making half of that, right? So you want to make sure you are putting the actual partnership amount percentage here, I'm sorry, because then now as we scroll down, you're going to re-click it and it's going to recalculate it for you. And I know that's kind of weird. It doesn't update it itself, and you want to re-click it. And it's going to update her income for that partnership. So it's going to split what her partnership calculation is. So you guys want to make sure you're looking at that and make sure that that income is correct for her. Does anybody have any questions?
In the example earlier, you mentioned that the reason for the declining funds income were due to COVID. Now, let's just say there was another catastrophic, like medical. I mean, could we put that in there, have a LOE, and then go from there, or would it be better to do what you suggested, which is just maybe if they have excellent credit, go with the 1 year? I mean, you know what I'm saying?
My suggestion would be if your current income, your 2021 is much better than 2020 and they have a credit, I would definitely go 1 year, unless it's capital gains. If it's capital gains, unfortunately, it is 2 year. So the guideline does read a 2-year minimum for capital gains.
Okay.
So that would be pretty much your, and again, I've had clients that are capital gains, and it's super easy. Capital gains is literally just, again, they're going to have 1120s, and it'll read capital gains on there, and you just grab both and divide it by 2.
Okay.
It's a little bit easier with capital gains, but I'm sorry, not 2, divided by 24, because you want to get your monthly, right? But with this, because it is a COVID year and you don't want to use it, especially with 2022 being done, I would definitely exclude 2020. But if you do need again, I'm gonna have somebody come in with the cash flow analysis. She's amazing. And I'm gonna tell you guys that, like, I still don't have it 100% down, which is why I didn't include it in this class, because it is a much more thorough analysis of your taxes. That's why we call this the intro to your 1120s. Because the intro to 1120s is just basically just getting, down to what your income is and what you're going to use for, again, like I mentioned, I do apologize. This was a little bit off. That's why I stood quiet for a second, because I knew this was off and I was just like, wait a minute, where is it off? But I'm going to update that when I do send it out to you guys. So this is why this is the intro. The other one that you guys do want to see, especially when you have these scenarios with COVID years and all that, because, we know 2021 wasn't a lot better for a lot of businesses. It was still kind of coming back on board, right? But if they have a trajectory, or they have a history, and they have a trajectory of making that income, because 2022 looks like a much better year, then you can use a cash flow analysis and present that to your underwriter to show that they're projected to make the income they were making pre-COVID. So again, I'm going to set that up for you guys. I love this. I know that to me, it was very difficult at first and very scary to get into 1120s. But as you guys can see, it's not that difficult. It's just knowing where to get it and having the correct calculator. So I'm going to share this with you guys. I'm going to shoot it out after this, after I correct that line item, because I don't like it being wrong. My other calculator, it's right. This one is the new one that I wanted to download for you guys. Anybody else have any more questions? If you guys don't have any more questions, or you feel a little like you need to want to ask more questions offline, again, guys, I am here Monday through Thursday, 9 to 3. Shoot me a message. Again, my email is Munoz, MUNOZ @icorelending.com. Shoot me a message, or even on our Teams Messenger. Shoot me a message. Let me know you guys want to do a one-on-one. I can do Zoom, or if you guys are not in the area. And we will be uploading this. David did share yesterday that he just made our YouTube channel live. So if you guys do go to YouTube, and I'm going to go ahead and show you guys here. I think it's iCore. I think it's just called iCore Lending, but I do recommend you guys, it's called iCore Lending Inc. YouTube. I recommend you guys going into it. If you guys feel a little bit lost, need to look at it a little bit more. We have uploaded we're going to be uploading as we go, but we've uploaded the majority of the recent trainings that we've done. You will see like our I-10 class, you'll see our renovations. So you guys will be able to see these in your own time as well. If you still feel like you need help, again, I do have my one-on-ones, and you guys are more than welcome to message me. Just let me know at least an hour in advance, so that I'm not like in another meeting or anything like that. But I'm usually here 9, like I said, 9 to 3. And I'll let you know if, I have a meeting or whatever, but I can schedule a one-on-one with you guys. So the whole thing is for us to be able to give you guys as much knowledge as we possibly can. And this is going to be updated with all of our videos as we go along. If you guys hit videos, you're going to see all the courses that we have been doing, all the great classes that we have had. So there's a lot of trainings on here, and this one will be uploaded there as well. So no questions, guys?
Thank you for the information. That's amazing to have a place to book this for the training.
Absolutely, yeah. And again, if you guys do need any other help, please feel free to message me again, JY Munoz at icorelending.com. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.